Hey guys, welcome to The Zone. Today we're talking about Porto 3, Manchester United 3. I just got in and remembered I'd not done my match reaction from last night. So here we go. Um, Basically, I'm a Man United fan. Supported them 30 plus years. I don't want Man United to lose games. Ideally, we win every single football game. However, there is a short-term pain for long-term gain. And so I didn't want to lose tonight. But if I'm being honest, I figured, well, if unfortunately we do lose, it has the added benefit of Ten Hag going. Now, I don't particularly want Ten Hag to go. I'd like Ten Hag to have been brilliant, but I'm going to give you some facts and some thoughts about the game because to me, I'm totally lost with what the hell we're doing. So going into the game, and I've spoke about this to my friend before the game began, so it's not post fact, you know what I mean? This was my thoughts and feelings going into the game. I look at our team lineup and I see this. Onana, in my opinion, a fairly average shot-stopping goalkeeper, and most things that are low and hard on the corners go in. He has this style where he's kind of jumping up in the air and pushing things away. He doesn't really catch. We've got a right back who was probably the best player at the club, Dalot. Not that I particularly rate him, but he was probably playing the best out of everyone. He's now playing left back. We have Delit, who he's an unknown entity at Manchester United. I said this. I said we don't know how he's going to handle it. And Martinez, who, let's be honest, has kind of had a good season and a bad season. It's a bit hit and miss with Martinez. He's not the tallest. He's not the quickest. He does play out from the back nice. He does carry the ball well. But he has had some horrific games. So I'm not looking at this back four thinking, this is good. Now, I really like Mazraoui. I actually really rate Mazraoui and I like him as a player. Then we get to the midfield. And I get to the midfield and I lose all hope and I don't understand what's going on, basically, because he's playing Bruno, Eriksen, Casemiro. And so to me, this screams, I'm going to lose my job if I don't win. I better resort back to something that can occasionally get some wins and can occasionally click, but is not sustainable. Like, we can't play Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno every game, right? So we're going to have to figure out a new system. We're going to have to figure out a new style that doesn't involve these players. And so that's what we should be working towards, right? We play the new players. We might have some good performances, some bad performances, but your trajectory is going up. With Ten Hag and managers of the past, he's gone back to his tried and trusted thing that doesn't always work, but occasionally works. What I sort of relate this to is it's kind of like if you went and got Michael Carrick, Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes, I don't know, John O'Shea, right? And you all stick him in midfield. Maybe we win the game. Maybe we win the next game, but it's not sustainable, is it? You can't build a team around that. You can't build a team around Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno. And so I had no idea why he'd picked that midfield. We've heard time and time again, wait till he gets his midfield, wait till he gets his team. Well, he had Ugarte there sat on the bench, right? He's got Collier. He's got Garnacho on the bench. He's got Anthony. These are players that he's signed, players that he's picked, right? And so he then has Rashford, who is out of form and doesn't track back defensively. We know this. And then we have Højlund, who in my opinion can't hold up the ball, can't score very well, very hit and miss. And Diallo, who is kind of one of these low centre of gravity wingers that, you know, he needs the ball frequently given to him in good areas, right? The whole team, to me, before the game even began, just made no sense. And I just looked at it and I was like, this is just not a good team. Like, it. And so I had very little hope going into it. Now, we start the game, and everybody's trying to tell me that we played fantastic in the opening 25 minutes. Here's what I genuinely saw in the opening 25 minutes. Within 4 minutes, they'd been in our box and actually had shots and key passes inside our penalty box. Like, not just little touches, like proper passes to and from 4 times. We then broke away. Rashford shimmied his way through a couple of players. Maybe on another day he gets tackled. He then shoots, and the keeper, to be honest, has a howler, and he should save it. And the same pattern then happens. They get on top of us. They start to play around in the box. They win a few corners, and then we kind of break away. And then Rasmus thumps it, and the keeper should do a lot better. Now, I know football is football, and you could say, well, we took our chances. They were hard, low shots. They always are difficult for goalkeepers. And so let's say we were justified in our 2-0 win, or 2-0, lead. I don't think we were, but let's pretend we were. Now what do we do? You're 2-0 up, your job's on the line, we're in Europe. I think he's won one European game with Manchester United since he took over Man United. I mean, these are unacceptable. I feel like people seem to forget this. It was the most humiliating group stage in the Champions League. He would have been fired at any top club. He hasn't won. I think he's won one, maybe. At best, he's won one European game with Manchester United. I think he's had 10 attempts. It's terrible. It's beyond terrible. It's unacceptable. That's what it is. And people are saying, oh, if this had clicked, if it's unacceptable, right? So we're 2-0 up, and in my opinion, probably shouldn't be. They're having chance after chance after chance. And come the end of the game, if their players could pass, if their players were a little bit more clinical, if their players were just had the head screwed on, it could have been 5 or 6 again. Every single time Manchester United play anybody remotely competent, we're coming away thinking they could have had 5 or 6. When I'm looking at the team, I know, say, Ricky from the United stand says this a lot, and people kind of laugh at him, but it's true. It's not so much the players you pick. I know I've just said about the team that he's picked, and I've gone on about it, but honestly, it's not so much about the players that you pick. It's the shape. And I think that's why no matter who we drop into Manchester United over the years, the shape and the style has just not been conducive of good, consistent football. Because I've seen clips. Well, I've not seen clips. I've watched the game, and I've rewatched the clips of the last night's game, and I'll see Martinez carrying the ball forward or Ericsson, and they're sort of on just ahead of our box, really. And the entire Man United team is ahead of him. Now, I'm not saying put 10 men behind the ball when you've got the ball, but it's pretty suicidal that you're playing the system that if you lose the ball, they're just floodgates are open and they're flying at you. It's crazy. I mean, look at the left-hand side of this team. Rashford doesn't track back. And for both goals, I honestly think he's at fault because he just lets his man casually stroll around. Doesn't close down the cross, doesn't close down the pass, the run. But look at the left-hand side. Rashford, Ericsson, Dalot. So incredibly weak. So incredibly lacking in tackling and discipline. What are you going to do with that? Bruno Fernandes goes and gets himself sent off. It is a sending off, and he's an idiot for doing it. You're captain of Man United. Read the room. You've just been sent off the last game and got it rescinded. Should he have gone with his head? Yes. Could he? Probably not. Should he then stick a boot up in his head and give the guy a chance? No. Imagine that was a Champions League final. Imagine that was the game to win the Prem. Goes and sticks his foot up like that. He's not reading the room. He's pissed off. He's mad. And you got Højlund after the game. He tweeted, "I've had 6 weeks to prepare that celebration. We didn't win, mate. What's there to celebrate?" I mean, the mentality of this entire club is just a joke. I can't be bothered to get mad at the genuine play style, I should say, because there isn't one. They're having 14 shots, 7 on target, right? I know we had 29 shots, which sounds crazy, doesn't it? But some of our shots were not really shots. It is... I just find it... I just find it very strange. I'll just tell you that. I just find the entire system very strange, and I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. I don't understand the way he plays. We're completely open. We just get ran through. And to me, a manager is meant to cover for certain weaknesses, right? oh, Ericsson might not have the legs. Dalot is a left back and he's playing left back, but really is a right back. Rashford likes to run into the space. So you've got a man that likes to stay wide and run into the space, and someone that's not in his right position, and then another guy with a pacemaker, who, in fairness to Ericsson, has probably been one of our standout players this season, as weird as that is. But the whole gelling of those three doesn't really work, and your job as a manager is not just to go, well, I don't really have a left back, and Garnacho's tired, so we'll play Rashford for 60 minutes, then we'll put Garnacho on. Like, your job is to create a system that covers weaknesses, right? We're just exposing everything. We just expose every single player and then just call out the player. Oh, Casemiro, he's got no legs. Yeah, well, maybe make a system that doesn't mean he has to run everywhere and tackle every single human being. Oh, Dalot, he can't defend. Okay, well, don't pair him up with a winger that doesn't also defend. You know? I think De Ligt was terrible. I'll be honest. I'm not saying he's not good enough because I haven't watched enough of him and he's in a horrific setup, but he lets him get goal side. He dives in. We should and easily should have lost that game 4-5. And I always just think back to the Tottenham game, not the other day, but the Tottenham game where he was managing Ajax in a Champions League semi-final. And what happened? He threw a lead. And it's just a consistent theme of this man in Europe. He throws away leads. He can't play restrictive or a style of composure or control. And you might say, well, not every manager wants that. And that's fair enough if we're scoring a load of goals and if we're exciting to watch, but we're not. He's also just stood on the touchline looking glum, like he has no idea what's going on. He's not very inspiring. I know the substitute worked, but swapping both your centre-backs, taking off Rashford when he has been in form, bringing on Anthony, rather than thinking, how can we get Diallo into the game, let's just bring on Anthony, who we know what he does. He runs in, he tries to cut inside, and he shoots, and he does nothing else. Why not start the game with, say, Anthony on the left wing and say, look, Anthony, your job this match is to help defensively Diallo, because we know you like the work rate. And people be like, well, then we're not going to be as attacking. We haven't got Rashford. People don't seem to understand that putting 11 attackers on the pitch doesn't always mean you're going to be more attacking. You can bring on a centre-back and end up more attacking as a result of having better team shape and control. I just think genuinely it was a horrific match. It was... I just watched it and I was just like, what is he doing? I just have no idea what he's doing. I mean, like, Ugarte must just be sat there on the bench thinking, what was the point? What was the point of me signing? I'm just not sure at all what is going to happen in that Villa game. And I don't think it really matters, honestly. Because if he plays the same type of midfield, Casemiro, Ericsson, Bruno, maybe he rags a win. Maybe we play really well and we get a win. But it's not sustainable. We're not really building anything here. That's when you kind of know it's going wrong and going south quickly. Is we're not thinking, well, that was a bit of a poor performance, but we've got De Ligt linking up now with Ugarte. We've got Diallo. He's getting the ball all the time and Fernandes is dropping deep. We're just running around like headless chickens. The game was just a joke, and it was totally summed up by the Instagram post from Højlund after celebrating the goal. I had 6 weeks to practice my celebration. I mean, honestly, Andy put the picture of him shushing. Eric saying we've got 2 seasons where we achieve finals. We have to develop. Look, you can't keep relying on those cups, mate. We are in the process. I don't know. You compare him to say like Maresca. Maresca is like, oh, what do you think about Ben Chilwell not being in the squad? Is like, well, I didn't pick him in the squad and I don't want him in the squad, and that's the end of it, right? Um, it was totally disjointed, just spaces everywhere, no control, horrific errors. We've won one in the last 10 games in Europe. It's unacceptable, really, isn't it? It's just unacceptable, man. Like, I can't see how he survives.